To become the most powerful awakened one, you soak yourself in the fish tank every day. You grill food on the gas stove. You even bury yourself in a pile of dirt to bask in the sun. You scrape bark under the tree. You eat dozens of pounds of raw iron at every meal. Even the metal blocks in your house have been replaced over and over. All because you have been transported into a world of superpowers as someone with useless talent. And you are the lowest level F-class water type awakened one. The entire school looks down on you. Not only do your best friends suggest you become a firefighter, they say you should make the most of your remaining potential. Even the teacher suggests you work as a sprinkler operator. The salary is only $800, but it includes full benefits. What they don't realize is, you've unlocked the system that controls the creation of all things. By touching an object, you gain the corresponding attribute talent. Absorbing spiritual items of matching attributes can further enhance your talent level. Since I crossed over with a golden finger, I will ensure you stand proudly in this world. At this moment, Yi Tian, who had just crossed over, was practicing the water sprinkling technique with a troubled look on his face. He focused on sensing the water-based energy within his body, and then used his mental strength to connect with this water element power, forming the inscription for the water sprinkling technique. Droplets of water started to take shape, scattering within a 3-meter radius around him. The trash sprinkling technique was barely functional. His entire body had only reached the beginner level of cultivation. At this rate, even the sanitation department wouldn't hire him. Yi Tian, with a look of frustration, muttered complaints to himself. Afterward, he repeatedly performed the sprinkling technique, hoping to improve it to a minor mastery level. But after casting the sprinkling technique only a dozen times, he felt the water-based energy within his body completely drained. Even his body became utterly exhausted. With no other choice, he had to stop his cultivation. Go take a warm bath. As time went by, Yi Tian dozed off in the bathtub, feeling drowsy. Suddenly, a voice echoed in his mind saying water power increased by 1. Yi Tian thought he was hallucinating. Right after that, a data panel appeared before his eyes. Host, Yi Tian. Level, Beginner Art Apprentice. Innate ability water type F level 16% art F level. Basic water sprinkling technique. This is the cheat ability. Yi Tian's eyes widened. Right after, a wild grin appeared on his face. Then he started carefully examining this panel. Judging from the data, my water type innate ability, although it's still far from level 1, it is indeed making progress. But the innate abilities of each person are almost fixed. Unless it's one of those extremely rare heavenly treasures. Only then is there a slight chance of evolving. The level of one's innate ability. Could it be related to this golden finger of mine? Just as this thought crossed my mind, another notification sound was heard. Water power increased by 1. At this moment he noticed that the water element F level had risen to 17%. This indicates the water power he had obtained. He was able to enhance his water-based abilities. This power over water seems to have been absorbed from the bathwater. This discovery made Yi Tian incredibly excited. Right after, Yi Tian stayed soaking in the bathtub until a surge of warmth swept through his entire body. A flash of blue light appeared in an instant. His water-based abilities advanced to level 100%. However, he soon realized there was an issue. After reaching level 1 with his water abilities, soaking in the bath any longer makes it much harder to absorb the power of water. I soaked for about an hour and a half. Eventually, I barely managed to absorb a little of the water's power. This is completely different from how it was at the beginning. It seems that the higher the level of innate abilities, the more challenging it becomes to absorb water's power from the source. Yi Tian sighed inwardly. Suddenly, a thought occurred to him. Since I can gain water's power from water, could I possibly gain fire's power from fire? As soon as Yi Tian had the thought in his mind, he decided to act right away. He headed straight to the kitchen. He turned on the flame of the gas stove. Then, he slowly placed his palm over the flame. When the heat from the flame started to cause some pain to his hand, just as he was about to pull his hand back to take a break, a notification sound suddenly chimed. Fire power increased by 1. When he saw the result, Yi Tian was overwhelmed with excitement. Then he accessed the data panel. Host Yi Tian's level is Beginner Art Apprentice. Innate ability water element level 1 at 1%. Fire element awakening at 1% with F level art. Basic mastery of the water sprinkling technique. As long as 100 points of fire energy are collected, the fire element's innate ability can be awakened. So Yi Tian kept touching the flames over and over. Several hours later, a red glow could be seen radiating from Yi Tian's body. At this moment, a surge of red energy was gathering inside his body. With a loud boom, Yi Tian's entire body radiated a brilliant red glow. The power of his fire elemental ability awakened. After an entire night of turmoil, the sky was about to brighten. Yi Tian lay down on the bed for a quick nap before getting up to head to school. As soon as he stepped into the classroom, he overheard some students talking about something. Which was that in just half a month, a high school senior league is about to take place. The event will be held in the F-13 Secret Realm, which has a 1-star rating. According to the rules set by the Art Association and the school, every student is required to participate. Quitting is not allowed. The top 10 participants will receive generous rewards. Additionally, during the league, any resources obtained within the secret realm belong to the individual. After class, Yi Tian arrived early at the big tree by the riverside. After thinking about it all night, he decided to awaken all 5 elemental attributes first, and then figure out how to enhance his innate abilities. Now he has come to the big tree with the intention of awakening the wood elemental ability. He placed his hands on the tree and waited silently. Soon, a notification appeared in his mind saying wood power +1. As expected, it requires a living tree to absorb the wood power. Because he had already tested it during class earlier in the day, ended up spending the whole day at the desk, but there was absolutely no change at all. Yi Tian stood in front of the big tree for several hours. It wasn't until evening that he finally awakened his wood element talent and abilities. Yet he noticed that the big tree in front of him had withered. It was clearly due to absorbing too much wood energy, which caused this outcome. In the following days, he kept using the same method. Awakened abilities in both the metal and earth elements. Also trained in the most basic spells of these abilities, to prepare for the upcoming high school league. As of now, he is undoubtedly an awakened with abilities in 5 elements. Without realizing it, the league at first high quietly approached. Yi Tian, filled with excitement, pulled up the data panel. Host Yi Tian, Realm, Ultimate Art Apprentice. Innate abilities. Water element level 1 55%, fire element level 1 1%, wood element level 1 12%, metal element level D 1%, earth element level 1 1 out of 100, art level F sprinkler technique minor achievement, level D water shield technique beginner, level D golden needle technique minor achievement. Yet what made Yi Tian the happiest and most satisfied was his own physical fitness, enhanced through the transformation brought by awakening all 5 elements. His physical condition could now rival the peak of an apprentice in the arts. Right after that, Yi Tian and the other members of the water element class, under the guidance of their homeroom teacher, Mr. Li Xian, arrived at the entrance of the F-13 Secret Realm. Meanwhile, students from other senior classes at Donghai First High School also started arriving at this location one after another. Nearly 1,000 students gathered here, forming a dense crowd, making it a rare and significant event for the school. As time went by, the entrance to the secret realm officially opened. Yi Tian suddenly saw a flash of white in front of his eyes. Right after that, the scene inside the secret realm unfolded before his eyes. The spot where he was standing was an open area. Ahead of the clearing lay a dense forest. Rustling sounds filled the air. One by one, students dashed past him, and then they gradually dispersed in all directions. Shortly after, Yi Tian picked a direction for himself and swiftly went off on his own. Yi Tian had come to the secret realm this time. The main goal is to search for metal ores, or spirit trees, spirit soil, spirit fire, and similar resources, to quickly enhance his innate abilities and power levels. So he's not really interested in hunting fierce beasts. But things didn't go as planned. As he ventured deeper into the jungle, it didn't take long before he encountered his first fierce beast, which turned out to be a blood-red wild wolf, rushing toward him at high speed. And when the wolf got within a 10-meter range of him, he immediately performed the golden needle technique. A popping sound could be heard. The golden needle technique pierced right through the wolf's skull. Due to the force of inertia, the wolf slid forward about 4 or 5 meters, before it finally collapsed heavily onto the ground. Since it was his first time hunting a fierce beast, Yi Tian was worried something unexpected might happen, so he tightly clenched his fist and struck the fallen wolf's head with force. A cracking sound echoed. The skull shattered. Blood spilled all over the ground. Then the wristwatch lit up. It automatically recorded 2 points for hunting a beast. Just as Yi Tian was about to move forward, suddenly, a loud rumble erupted. The sound of a battle came from not far ahead, so Yi Tian crouched down and quietly headed toward the source of the sound. They are students from the gifted class. Following the sound, he looked over. Yi Tian saw a group of more than 10 students. They were attacking a giant snake together. Their ultimate goal was to seize the fruit from the tree behind the snake. Judging by the scene, it seems they had been fighting there for quite some time already. Yet the snake barely had any injuries on its body. Clearly, his defense is at least on par with an average beast. Even some beginner artists on the scene found it hard to break through his defense. They struggled to penetrate his defense. No wonder so many students from the class of geniuses surrounded him. They couldn't break through even after a prolonged assault. Yi Tian had no intention of getting involved. Instead, he chose to watch the show from the sidelines. He was planning to play the role of the fisherman waiting for an opportunity. Right at that moment, a water bullet spell shot out from the distant bushes, rushed straight toward the giant serpent. Heard a loud bang. A terrifying hole appeared on the serpent's body. Then its massive body collapsed to the ground. Blood spilled everywhere. Yi Tian and the genius students of the academy were momentarily stunned. The water bullet technique had directly taken down the giant serpent. It was instantly killed at that moment. A beautiful woman slowly emerged from the forest. Her long, turquoise hair flowed gently in the breeze. The cold demeanor paired with a sleek black outfit gave off a very professional and capable vibe. Turned out to be the genius Lin Xingya. Lin Xingya possesses a B-level water element talent, and her cultivation has even reached the level of an ultimate artist. In this joint competition, her strength can definitely be considered formidable. After Lin Xingya defeated the giant serpent, she immediately turned her gaze toward the students, and then began to speak. This Scarlet Sun tree's scarlet sunfruits are mine now. Do any of you have any objections? When the group heard this, their expressions immediately changed. Even though they were a bit annoyed, they didn't dare to argue back. After that, they left dejectedly. Meanwhile, Lin Xingya picked all the dozen or so scarlet sunfruits from the tree, then quickly left the area. After he left, Yi Tian slowly emerged from the bushes nearby. He stepped out. Looking in the direction where Lin Xingya had gone, Yi Tian curled his lips. The Qiang fruit is truly a treasure. It not only enhances the abilities of those with fire-related talents, but also greatly improves physical strength. Even if it can't be used, a single Qiang fruit can still sell for 300,000. Although Yi Tian was tempted by the Qiang fruits, he felt it wasn't worth fighting Lin Xingya over these fruits. He believed there was no need to clash with Lin Xingya for the fruits. Besides, compared to the fruits, he was more interested in the Qiang tree itself. Right after, Yi Tian stretched out both of his hands and slowly placed his palms against the trunk of the Qiang tree. The power of wood increased by 1. The power of wood increased by 1 again. Add the power of wood. The increase is really fast. In just over half an hour, his wood-based talent had already advanced to level D. However, judging by the vibrant life force of the red alder tree, Yi Tian continued to absorb the power of wood, while also finding a spot to sit down. Not until the red alder tree completely withered did Yi Tian slowly stand up. At this point, his wood element talent had already reached grade C. Afterward, he set off again. He began his journey to search for materials. Meanwhile, in a valley within the secret realm, an ape-like beast covered in golden fur was being surrounded and attacked by 7 artists. It was a level 1 bloodline, level 1 beast called the golden ape. Its body was like steel and iron. Ordinary methods could hardly break through its defenses. But the ones surrounding him were 7 geniuses with extraordinary talents. Each of them possessed a B-level gifted ability, and every one of them had mastered 1 or even 2 C-level artistic skills. They had all reached the level of ultimate artists. Lin Xingya's figure was also among them. With a loud bang, the 7 attacked simultaneously, forcing the Vajra ape to retreat step by step. But its tough body combined with its exceptional defensive power, he managed to block it head-on. The C-level art attack from 7 ultimate artists. Meanwhile, the attack of the Vajra ape was extremely powerful. Even a casual strike was comparable to a C-level art attack. As time went by, The injuries of the Vajra ape gradually worsened. Its strength also started to diminish little by little. Just when they thought the Vajra ape was about to falter, from its body, a terrifying surge of power suddenly erupted. The golden ape's body emanated a dazzling golden aura, radiating an intense golden light. It suddenly charged forward with great force, directly injuring Lin Xingya and the other 6, causing them to cough up blood, and sending them all flying backward. This is the unique ability of the mighty ape, the diamond skin. Right after Lin Xingya fell to the ground injured, when they thought they were in big trouble, the mighty ape suddenly turned around and ran away. It was at this moment that they realized what had happened. The Vajra ape forcibly used its innate extraordinary ability. It would suffer the backlash of its bloodline. Now it is at the end of its strength. It has been gravely injured. Just as they got up to give chase, the Vajra ape's figure had already disappeared. Frustrated, they stomped their feet in anger on the spot. But soon after, they followed the trail of blood. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yi Tian, who had been searching for rare treasures, had been at it for a long time. He finally experienced his first harvest. In the bamboo forest not far away, something caught his eye. There was a bamboo plant with a purple-gold hue. Its entire body emitted a faint purple-golden glow. The bamboo had a diameter of less than 10 centimeters. It was segmented into several sections. This was the legendary purple-gold spirit bamboo. It had the ability to gather the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Additionally, he made an unexpected discovery. Not far from the purple-gold spirit bamboo, there is a spring that glows with a green aura. It seems this isn't an ordinary spring in this place. What an unexpected surprise. At this moment, his expression turned serious. This kind of place where spiritual energy gathers must surely have a powerful beast residing here. But soon, his face was filled with confusion again. After observing for such a long time, he still couldn't find any sign of a beast. So Yi Tian decided not to wait any longer. Quickly snapped the purple gold spirit pearl, reached the spring, began absorbing the power of water. Just as his water element talent had barely reached the earth level, a loud roar echoed from not far away. Then a massive King Kong ape came into view, charging rapidly from a distance. Its body covered in traces of blood. Clearly, it had just been through a fierce battle. Yi Tian's expression suddenly changed. While he was trying to figure out how to escape, the Vajra ape took the initiative to attack first. Even though it was seriously injured, seeing its spirit tribe being slaughtered, and its spiritual spring being invaded, it instantly revealed its murderous intent. The Vajra ape moved towards Yi Tian at an incredible speed. 15 meters, 10 meters. With a wave of his hand, Yi Tian used the golden needle technique. The golden needle technique at a minor mastery level was unleashed. A golden needle shot forward at an incredibly high speed, targeting the Vajra ape's eye. But the Vajra ape reacted with exceptional speed as well. It shut its eyes tightly. The golden needle struck its eyelid and dissipated into the air. In the next moment, the Vajra ape had already closed the distance. It swung its palm fiercely at Yi Tian. A water shield spell formed a blue water barrier. A protective water shield appeared around Yi Tian's body. However, the water shield barely lasted a second before it was shattered by a single strike from the Vajra ape. Right after that, Yi Tian channeled his weapon's energy into his skin to strengthen his defense, hoping to withstand the Vajra ape's powerful strike. A loud bang echoed as Yi Tian was sent flying from the force of the blow, crashing through several bamboo trees in a row, barely managed to come to a stop, and the 5 types of powers on his skin were directly dispersed. Luckily, his physical strength far surpasses that of other artists at the same level. He felt a bit of his blood and energy surging from the hit, but it wasn't anything serious. This indirectly confirmed the suspicion in Yi Tian's mind that the golden ape had suffered severe internal injuries. Otherwise, this strike would have been enough to kill him 10 times over. Just as the golden ape was about to launch another attack, Yi Tian used what seemed like the most useless water sprinkling technique. With a sudden splash, a splash of clear water landed right on the Vajra ape's head. Under the impact of the flowing water, it instinctively shut its eyes. And just as the water had passed, the moment the Vajra ape opened its eyes, a golden needle spell precisely hit its now open eyes. The Vajra ape immediately let out a painful scream. A large amount of blood flowed out from his eyes. Right after that, the giant ape became incredibly furious, recklessly using all sorts of techniques. attacking everything around it. But with its eyes lost, the giant ape could no longer see anything at all. It wildly struck around the bamboo forest, but not once did it hit Yi Tian. So Yi Tian took advantage of this, occasionally using the golden needle technique to attack the ape's weak spots. After more than 10 minutes, the Vajra ape could no longer hold on and collapsed. It slowly fell to the ground, and Yi Tian earned 500 points as a reward for defeating it. While Yi Tian was collecting the Vajra ape's corpse and was getting ready to leave, Lin Xingya and 6 others arrived at the scene. The Vajra ape had died. When they reached the bamboo mountain, hoping to track down the Vajra ape, they unexpectedly stumbled upon the corpse of the King Kong ape. Their faces instantly showed expressions of shock and disbelief. It was even more surprising when they realized the one who killed the King Kong ape was merely an art apprentice. The astonishment on their faces grew even stronger. At that moment, a student dressed in a white tracksuit stepped forward from the group of 7. He had short black hair, thick eyebrows and sharp triangular eyes. This student was none other than Zhang Xiao from the gifted class. He gave Yi Tian a cold glance. Then he opened his mouth and said, "This golden armored ape was injured by us during the fight, and now you've taken advantage of it. Shouldn't you give us an explanation? What do you mean by taking advantage? Whoever kills the prey gets to keep it." This was something the school announced before entering the secret realm. Do you have an issue with that? Yi Tian showed no fear at all, looking at Zhang Xiao with a face full of disdain. Just as Zhang Xiao was looking at the purple gold bamboo in Yi Tian's hand. Right when he was about to say something, Lin Xingya, standing to the side, calmly said to Zhang Xiao, "Let it go, we're all classmates. There's no need for this. Since this classmate was the one who killed the Vajra ape, then it belongs to him." Upon hearing Lin Xingya say this, the other 6 people didn't think it was appropriate to say anything either. They each left one after another. Several more days went by without anyone noticing. Today marks the final day of the Senior Year League. Yi Tian carefully analyzed his own stats. Panel host, Yi Tian level, Ultimate Art Apprentice. Innate ability, Water System C level 1%. Fire System E level 3%. Wood System C level 12%. Metal System D level 1%. General System level 1 3%. Art F level Sprinkling Technique Small Town. Level 1 Water Shield Technique Small Town. Level 1 Golden Needle Technique Small Town. After reviewing the data, Yi Tian nodded in satisfaction. Regarding this trip to the secret realm, he was quite satisfied with the results. Immediately after, Yi Tian dragged the corpse of the diamond ape and headed towards the exit gathering point. However, right after Yi Tian exited the secret realm, he caused a sensation. Seeing an art apprentice dragging the body of a level 1 beast out, everyone was instantly filled with shock and disbelief, especially the students from the water element class. Their mouths were wide open, enough to fit a fist. What level of power does Yi Tian have? They know it perfectly well. Someone who only knows how to sprinkle. A beginner apprentice of water magic. How could they possibly kill a King Kong ape? But this noisy scene, quieted down immediately due to the arrival of the schoolteachers, instantly became silent. Right after that, the teacher began announcing the results of this senior year competition. First place went to Lin Xingya with 682 points, second place was Li Xiaohua with 628 points, third place was Zhang Xiao with 577 points, fourth place was Yi Tian with 576 points. Then, the teacher started handing out rewards to the top 10. And as the fourth place winner, Yi Tian received a C-level art skill as his reward, and a prize of 200,000. Yi Tian thought about it for a moment. Then he turned to the teacher and said, "I want to learn the C-level water-based skill, water healing technique." The homeroom teacher nearby heard this, and kindly reminded Yi Tian, "Water healing technique is a C-level ability. It requires a C-level water element talent to have a chance of mastering it." But Yi Tian's response right after completely shocked the teacher. It caught the envious eyes of all the students present. Everyone cast looks of admiration. "Teacher, I discovered a rare treasure in the secret realm. After consuming it, my water-based talent has reached level C." After the award ceremony was over, Yi Tian returned home and started practicing water healing techniques. During the following period of time, Yi Tian frequently visited art shops, along with the underground mall, buy all kinds of necessary items. While making use of these items, Start practicing arts and improving talents. Half a month later, Yi Tian accessed the data panel. Host Yi Tian. Realm Advanced Arts Apprentice. Innate Abilities. Water Elements C Grade 1%, Fire Elements C Grade 1%. Wood Elements C Level 67%, Metal Elements C Level 1%, Earth Elements C Level 1%. Art F Level. Water Sprinkling Technique. Advanced E Level Water Shield Technique, Basic E Level Golden Needle Technique. Introductory Advanced Water Therapy Technique. Introductory Wood Vine Technique. Looking at this rapidly improving data, Yi Tian was so thrilled he couldn't stop smiling. After that, Yi Tian opened the door to his house. He arrived at the Water Element Genius class. Yi Tian is now a student in the Gifted class. This is his third day back from the Secret Realm. The school arranged for him to be placed here. The Northern Division's Gifted class has a total of 21 students. Among them are 7 who are artists. There are 13 advanced art apprentices at their peak. The rest are just senior art apprentices. Lin Xingya has the highest cultivation level among them. And without a doubt, Yi Tian's level is the lowest. As soon as Yi Tian entered the class, he overheard some news. A senior art master from the cult of the evil god caused quite a stir in Donghai City. Not only killed 3 art masters, but also lured many people into joining the cult of the evil god. Now the entire city is on the hunt for him. Hearing what the other classmates said, Yi Tian frowned slightly. He was no stranger to the cult of the evil god. The predecessor had died because of practicing forbidden techniques. And that forbidden technique, it was obtained from an outer disciple of the cult of the evil god. That secret technique is called the Heaven-Defying Technique. It can raise F-level potential to level 1. And the previous self foolishly started cultivating it, which ultimately led to their untimely death. While Yi Tian was still lost in his memories, teacher Li Xian arrived. Before the class began, the teacher made a serious announcement. It was about Li Yan from the ordinary fire element class. He was tempted by the cult of the evil god. He practiced the forbidden enlightenment technique from the cult of the evil god. Although it temporarily boosted his comprehension, it allowed him to quickly advance from a mid-level art apprentice to a high-level art apprentice. But his innate talent dropped to an F level. From then on, he could never practice first-level fire arts again, and he would likely remain stuck at the high-level art apprentice stage for life, possibly unable to progress any further. While the other students still showed regret on their faces, Yi Tian showed a look of surprise. His heart was filled with overwhelming excitement. He felt that this enlightenment technique was made just for him. It consumes innate potential. Others might be afraid, but he had nothing to worry about. Even if his talent dropped from C level to F level, he could still use his golden finger to raise it back up. After confirming this idea, Yi Tian was getting ready to plan how to obtain the enlightenment technique. As soon as school was over, Yi Tian went home and changed into a different outfit. He was seen wearing a black hat. He had on a pair of black sunglasses. He covered his mouth with a mask. Dressed in very ordinary clothes, he stepped out. Then quietly, he arrived at Old Hayes General Store in the No. 2 Underground Mall. As soon as he entered the store, a middle-aged man with a sharp face and monkey-like features came up to him. After chatting with him for a few minutes, Yi Tian got straight to the point. He explained the purpose of his visit. He wanted to make a purchase here. He was looking to buy the enlightenment technique from the cult of the evil god. It was for an elder in his family whose cultivation had reached a certain level. Without some external assistance, it might be impossible for them to break through in their lifetime. They hoped to take a chance with the enlightenment technique. And as a shrewd shopkeeper, the general store owner, he obviously noticed Yi Tian's sense of urgency, took the chance to extort a hefty sum, demanded a sky-high price of 1 million. Knowing he was being taken advantage of, Yi Tian still felt a pang of pain. But thinking about finally getting the enlightenment tree, his mood lightened up a bit. Meanwhile, Yi Tian was walking out of Old Black's general store with the enlightenment tree in hand, and hurriedly heading back home. What he didn't realize was, in a nearby alley not far behind him, a figure was silently watching him. Under the faint light, the person's features faintly came into view. It was the same person from the past few days, the art master of the cult of evil gods wanted by Donghai City. Only to see, he watched Yi Tian disappear around the corner of the street. A sly smile appeared on his face. Then he vanished into the alley. Not long after, Yi Tian returned home. He began practicing the enlightenment technique. he closed his eyes tightly, sitting cross-legged in the training ground. With a loud boom, behind Yi Tian appeared a faint image of a strange tree. This was a sign of comprehending the enlightenment technique, and the essence of the enlightenment technique, drawing energy from innate abilities through this mysterious art. To nourish it, the soul experiences a rapid surge in comprehension within a short period. At this moment, deep within Yi Tian's soul, it felt as if some kind of hunger had emerged, an urgent desire to absorb all the energy within the body. Start by absorbing the power of Earth Element innate ability. While I haven't begun cultivating yet sea-level Earth Element skill, the potential of Earth Element innate ability will decrease. It won't affect my cultivation. As soon as Yi Tian made his decision, he immediately began absorbing the Earth Element talent essence. Streams of Earth Element talent essence could be seen, being drawn and transformed by a mysterious technique, which then formed a unique type of energy that was infused into his soul. In an instant, Yi Tian seemed to enter an indescribable mystical state. Some challenges he couldn't understand before suddenly became clear to him. Could this be what they call a sudden realization? Right after that, Yi Tian started practicing various arts. Water therapy technique, wood vine technique, golden needle technique, and sword shadow technique. He kept training until the essence of his earth attribute talent was on the verge of collapsing. Only then did Yi Tian slowly awaken from his cultivation. At this moment he realized, aside from the newly learned sword shadow technique reaching minor achievement, all the other arts had advanced to great accomplishment, and even reached the perfect stage. Yi Tian woke up in utter shock. The speed of this cultivation is truly extraordinary. No wonder so many people have been captured by the evil god society to cultivate and practice the enlightenment technique. However, he shifted his focus to examine his Earth Element talent. He discovered that his original sea-level Earth Element talent had not only dropped to F level, but also ranked in the lowest 1% of F level, almost to the point of a complete talent collapse. Looking at his Earth Element talent on the verge of crumbling, Yi Tian thought to himself, luckily he awakened his golden finger. Otherwise, the cost would have been way too much. In just one night, it turned someone from a genius into a failure. Then, he took out a bit of the spiritual soil left over from before. Power of martial arts increased by 1. Earth element power increased by 1. Earth element power increased by 1 again. Yi Tian absorbed the power of wood while doing so, while contemplating the Tao comprehension technique. Practicing this Tao comprehension technique, it truly feels like a divine technique tailor-made for him. Once recovered, he would resume practicing the Tao comprehension technique. Next time, focus on absorbing the fire-based innate ability. Over the next few days, Yi Tian practiced the Tao comprehension technique and visited the underground market at Section 2 to purchase various materials associated with the 5 elements. Time passed by day. Yi Tian mastered all the common martial arts techniques and brought them to a state of perfection, while also breaking through his own limitations in cultivation, stepping into the ranks of a beginner-level artist. Even more impressive, his physical strength has significantly improved, reaching a level comparable to that of intermediate or even advanced artists. This achievement is largely attributed to his practice of the enlightenment technique, combined with the discoveries made through his golden finger ability, which allowed him to deplete his potential using the enlightenment technique. When using the golden finger to enhance talent potential again, it can always improve one's physical condition. After undergoing repeated cycles of refinement, Yi Tian's physical capabilities have far surpassed those at the same level. However, he can no longer continue as he did before to keep practicing the Tao comprehension technique, because his previous savings have already been completely spent on purchasing 5 elements materials. Now he needs to head out to hunt beasts and earn money. So the next day Yi Tian went to school early to request leave. Of course, he wasn't the only one in the class to take leave. In fact, most of the students in the class took leave, and those who took leave mostly came from families with strong backgrounds. During the critical stage of preparing for college entrance exams, there's no need to waste time attending classes at school. They chose to stay at home for focused training, which could help them grow and improve more quickly. Not long after that, Yi Tian successfully obtained leave approval. Carrying his luggage, he arrived at the Maple Mountain Range. He saw the fiery red maple trees covering the entire hillside. Under the midday sunlight, they looked especially dazzling, as if the mountains themselves were aflame. stretching across the middle of the land. Yi Tian, who had just arrived at the Maple Mountain Range, quickly sensed a hint of danger in the air. It seemed that a beast had set its sights on him. But for now, he had no idea where the beast might be. Suddenly, a large tree not far away, a blood-colored mantis appeared. It leaped into the air with a swift motion, swinging its scythe-like arms. It charged straight toward Yi Tian. The mid-tier B-class blood-colored mantis possesses C-class bloodline. With a sharp swish, the blood-colored mantis raised its scythe-like arms and slashed at Yi Tian's neck. The Earth Armor Technique, a unique Earth-type ability. Responding to Yi Tian's summoning voice, the response came afterward. At that moment, his body was instantly covered with a thick layer of gray armor enveloping him. After a sharp sound pierced through the air, one could see the blood-red mantis's side slicing through. The armor was left with just a faint mark. Following that, the blood-red mantis's suggestion proved effective. It quickly began shifting its movements. The blood-red mantis's form left streaks of afterimages around, launching constant attacks toward Yi Tian. The sound of banging kept echoing. It only left a few marks on Yi Tian's gray armor. It didn't have much of an effect. At this moment, Yi Tian finally began to counterattack at a leisurely pace. Earlier, he let the scarlet mantis attack for a while. He just wanted to test the strength of the armor coating technique and see how long it could last. Sword Shadow Technique. Golden light flickered in Yi Tian's hand. Then a gray sword shadow flashed across. Before the scarlet mantis could even react, it pierced right through his body. Green blood instantly gushed out. His body collapsed with a loud thud. The blood-colored mantis, being a level 1 demonic beast, only its pair of arm blades were worth any money. The rest of its body could be considered completely worthless. No one would even bother to pick it up if left there. Yi Tian was seen quickly cutting off the pair of arm blades. Then he stored them in his storage pouch. After that, he turned around and walked away. What followed next? Yi Tian spent every day hunting down various beasts and slaying them. Then he collected the most valuable parts of their bodies. Nothing unexpected ever happened. Until that particular day. It was when Yi Tian had just killed a wolf. A demonic beast, to be precise. He was in the middle of extracting its fangs and claws, when suddenly, there was a loud boom. A massive black serpent covered entirely in scales darted out from the jungle. This is a level 2 demonic beast, the black-scaled serpent. Yi Tian's expression shifted immediately. Level 2 demonic beasts in the Maple Leaf Mountain Range are extremely rare, especially in the outer regions where they are even harder to encounter. Yi Tian swiftly performed the golden light technique, transforming into a streak of golden light as he fled the area at high speed. He had no intention of testing his strength against the black-scaled serpent, especially since he had just advanced to the rank of a novice artist. On the other hand, the black-scaled serpent is considered one of the top-tier creatures among second-level beasts. It is incredibly difficult to deal with, extremely troublesome. After that, Yi Tian left the Maple Leaf Mountain Range, returned to the East Sea Base Market, packed up the materials from over a dozen beasts this time, sold them to a store, earned an income of 680,000. Immediately after, Yi Tian arrived at Donghai Pavilion to purchase the Fire Eye technique. This is an essential skill for hunting monsters in the wild. However, last time he didn't have enough funds, so he wasn't able to practice it. Not long after that, Yi Tian used the Enlightenment technique to master the Fire Eye technique and reach a high level of proficiency. Afterward, he headed to the Maple Leaf Mountain Range. This time, he made use of the Fire Eye technique to deliberately avoid the area where the black-scaled giant snake resided. Yi Tian's eyes emitted faint streaks of red light. He scanned the surroundings. The environment within a 500-meter radius instantly appeared in his mind. Shortly after, Yi Tian noticed a stone about 130 meters away, where a slumbering stone armored demon lay. The stone armored demon could be seen. Its entire body was covered with a thick layer of stone armor. Even its forehead had a gray stone protrusion. Lying between rocks is not only a technique he uses to hunt, but also a way to avoid other carnivorous beasts. The stone armor beast is truly a treasure from head to toe. Its shell is often used to make battle suits, and the shells with enough years of maturity can even serve as material for armor. Its meat is tender, delicious and filled with spiritual energy. It is not only a specialty ingredient for many high-end restaurants, but also a go-to food for quickly replenishing energy in the wild. But the most valuable part is the pair of eyes from the stone-armored demon. Known as a treasure of nature, it's considered an essential ingredient for earth element elixirs. This type of earth element elixir can significantly accelerate the cultivation of those with earth element talent. Whenever the eyes of the stone-armored demon appear on the market, they are always fiercely competed for by major herbal merchants. With the help of the fiery vision technique, Yi Tian silently approached the stone-armored demon. The sword shadow technique was followed by a faint sound of impact. A streak of gray sword light swept across the weak point at the stone-armored demon's neck, and immediately its head was severed in an instant. Yi Tian stored its corpse into his storage bag, and then continued his hunt for more beasts. With the assistance of the fire eye technique, Yi Tian took just one day to slay nearly 30 beasts. Compared to the first time, the efficiency had increased several times over. In the evening, Yi Tian returned to the East Sea base market again. He exchanged 30 demonic beasts for 2.1 million coins. After that, he went to the East Sea Pavilion. He purchased some materials that were used to upgrade his artistic talent in the 5 elements. At the same time, he also bought the B-grade wood element ability, Hellwood Charges. Following that, Yi Tian found a quiet spot and began focusing on his cultivation. Several days, about 5 or 6, had passed. Yi Tian, who had been immersed in his cultivation, slowly opened his eyes. During this round of training, he not only mastered the Hellwood technique to perfection, but his own cultivation level had also reached the peak of a beginner artist. It seemed like it wouldn't take long for him to break through to the ultimate artist level. Just as Yi Tian was about to head to the Maple Leaf Mountain Range again, he unexpectedly ran into an acquaintance, Zhang Xiao, on the way. Yi Tian's face showed an expression of surprise. Compared to before, now Zhang Xiao seems to have gained a sharper aura. Even though his cultivation level still hasn't reached the advanced artist realm, his presence feels much stronger than it did before. To avoid causing unnecessary trouble, Yi Tian quickly walked away through the crowd. At the same time, Zhang Xiao also noticed Yi Tian leaving. He immediately looked a bit astonished. His face suddenly turned gloomy again. Do you know that guy Zhang Xiao was just talking to? At this moment, beside Zhang Xiao, a burly man with a small braid asked, "Brother Liu, the guy from earlier. He is a student from the Genius Water Element class at our #1 high school. He used to be a useless F-level water element talent, but he stumbled upon some rare treasures in the freshman secret realm. It was those treasures that boosted his potential to sea level, and that's how he got into the Genius class by luck." Zhang Xiao introduced with a stern expression. "Besides, I have conflicts with him." This person, whom Zhang Xiao referred to as Brother Liu, belongs to Donghai City's Dongshu Group, assigned top-tier artist. Lu Feng is also one of the 2 top-tier artists involved in protecting Zhang Xiao this time. One of the 2 peak-level artists gaining experience to curry favor with this future executive of the Dongshu Group, a potential high-ranking figure in the Dongshu Group. Lu Feng immediately made his stance clear. Leave this matter for him to handle. It is guaranteed to be done completely and thoroughly. So Lu Feng took a leap forward, rushing quickly in the direction where Yi Tian disappeared. At this moment, Yi Tian had just stepped out of the East Sea base market, and immediately sensed that someone was tailing him. Fire Eye technique showed Yi Tian's eyes glowing red, instantly covering an area of 500 meters around him, bringing everything within his perception range. At that moment, he detected a humanoid figure hiding behind a large tree. It was then that Yi Tian got a clear look. The one following him turned out to be the peak artist who was always by Zhang Xiao's side. At that moment, Lu Feng also seemed to realize that Yi Tian had noticed him, so he stopped hiding and suddenly flashed forward, swiftly attacking Yi Tian. Just as the opponent was closing in, Yi Tian immediately cast the sword shadow technique in an instant. With a buzzing sound, a gray sword shadow swiftly charged toward Lu Feng. But Lu Feng, with his rich combat experience, reacted in no time. He immediately cast a grade D-level spell on himself, the wind-based art, Wind Armor. However, he underestimated Yi Tian's mastery of the sword shadow technique at its peak level. Only a muffled sound was heard. The wind armor was instantly pierced through. The unstoppable sword shadow technique then went straight through his shoulder. At the same time, wooden vines shot up from the ground, twisting and coiling toward him. The wood vine technique made Lu Feng's face fill with fear. In that instant during their clash just now, Lu Feng realized that the information he received was highly inaccurate. Yi Tian not only used the perfected sword shadow technique, but also unleashed the perfected wood vine technique as well. This was nothing like someone who relied on external forces to rise up like some useless talent. An unparalleled genius who completely overshadows all other talents. Lu Feng deeply regretted his decision at this moment. Why did he decide to attack Yi Tian alone? Immediately, he turned around, trying to make a run for it. But in an instant, his legs were already entangled by the branches of the parasol tree. There was no way he could escape now. As he tried to cut away the vines, Yi Tian had already unleashed a level B wood-based supernatural technique. The Hellwood Thorn technique. Sharp wooden spikes suddenly appeared one after another, emerging from the ground, and then swiftly shot toward Lu Feng. After a few muffled sounds, Lu Feng's body was pierced with numerous holes, and he died instantly. At this moment, Yi Tian's face showed a look of shock. The combination of the wood vine technique and the Hellwood spike technique was terrifying. Although there was an element of taking advantage, it was still able to instantly kill a peak-level anomaly user. This is honestly quite impressive. However, the consumption involved is also significant. Just 2 skills were enough to completely drain his wood-based abilities. But fortunately, his other 4 abilities were still abundant. His combat strength remained formidable. Right after that, Yi Tian buried Lu Feng's body to avoid exposure, then silently made a decision to eliminate Zhang Xiao without leaving any trace. If Lu Feng, who was sent out, doesn't return for a long time, then Zhang Xiao is very likely to inform the Dongshu group about the matter. And it was just last time. Over a small incident, Zhang Xiao already sent people to attack someone as petty as him, who holds grudges like this. If I don't deal with him now, there will be more trouble later. Thinking of this, Yi Tian found a place to hide. At the same time, in the East Sea base market, Zhang Xiao paced back and forth in the same spot. It was clear that he was getting a bit anxious while waiting. Why hasn't there been any news from Brother Lu yet? Zhang Xiao looked up. He asked someone standing nearby. A peak artist dressed in armor. Gao Yunchang mentioned that the outdoor signal is poor. It's quite normal to have trouble reaching someone under such conditions. Gao Yunchang replied. If you don't want to wait. Alright, let's head into the Maple Leaf Mountains. Maybe we'll run into Lu Feng there. So they left the East Sea base market and began their journey toward the Maple Leaf Mountains. Not long after Zhang Xiao and his companion entered the mountains, Gao Yunchang sensed a presence from the stars. Move quickly, Gao Yunchang shouted. In the next moment, a massive fireball came flying toward them. A loud boom was all that could be heard. The fireball exploded instantly. Hai Yunchang was blown away instantly. He fell to the ground, spitting blood. It was obvious he was seriously injured. Zhang Xiao ended up in an even worse condition. Not only did he lose an arm in the explosion, but his entire body was covered in blood. He was lying on the ground. His condition was so severe, it was unclear if he was alive. At this moment, Hai Yunchang was clearly terrified. He completely ignored Zhang Xiao. He stood up and immediately wanted to run. Vines from the tree began to rise one by one from the ground. They started wrapping around him. Although Gao Yunchang tried to dodge, one of the vines still managed to wrap around his foot. Immediately after, the sword shadow technique was unleashed. A gray sword light swept through the air. Seeing the incoming sword light, Gao Yunchang's face turned pale. He then summoned all his golden superpowers, performing the Great D Precision Art Golden Arm technique. His arms transformed into a dazzling golden color, significantly enhancing the defense and attack power of his arms. Then moving forward to block. A soft splatter sound could be heard. Blood spurted in all directions. Gao Yunchang's arm was severed by a single sword strike. Right after that, Yi Tian's second gray sword light came rushing in. Without arms to shield himself, Gao Yunchang was instantly beheaded with one swift stroke. At this moment, not far away, Zhang Xiao slowly regained consciousness. He happened to witness Gao Yunchang being killed. His entire body shuddered instantly. Just as Zhang Xiao was about to kneel down and beg Yi Tian for mercy, another massive fireball came crashing toward him. With a thunderous boom that followed, a charred corpse appeared on the ground. After killing Zhang Xiao, Yi Tian used the golden light technique and quickly fled the scene. Since this place is too close to the East Sea base market, it's very likely that someone will notice something unusual soon. It would be troublesome if he got exposed then. Sure enough, not long after Yi Tian left, the official artist guard team appeared at the battle scene. Soon after, they conducted a brief search of the surroundings, and then left with 2 corpses. In the following period, Yi Tian spent his days repeatedly hunting beasts to earn currency, and then went to East Sea Pavilion to buy materials of the 5 elements. About mastering the art. Just half a month after killing Zhang Xiao, Yi Tian's abilities reached the level of an advanced artist. Not only that, he also perfected the Hell with Thorn technique, and even learned 3 new art techniques, including the earth burrowing technique, water clone technique, and ground to steel technique. At this moment, Yi Tian was not far from the East Sea base market, by the banks of the Donglan River, practicing the water clone technique. Suddenly, he noticed a water element ability user not far away, slaughtering beasts in the river on a large scale. Even the young ones of the beasts weren't spared. Right after that, he collected all the beast corpses into a storage bag. After finishing everything, he hurriedly went ashore, heading toward a dense forest not far away. Sensing something unusual, Yi Tian used the earth escape technique, trailing far behind him. It didn't take long. That water elemental powers user arrived in front of an abandoned house deep in the forest, only to see several figures emerging from the house. A group of more than 10 gifted individuals came into view. Leading them was a man dressed in a black long robe, with short white hair. His eyes were bright crimson, and a massive scar was visible on the left side of his face, exuding an overwhelming aura. People around him didn't dare to get close. Within a meter's range, the water element wielder could be seen, bowing his head and lowering his posture to the leading man. Then he slowly said, "Lord of the Blood Marsh, here is the corpse of a water element beast I acquired. Place it into the altar. In the coming days, we'll need your tireless efforts again to hunt down even more beasts. The group from Donghai City is still searching everywhere. To avoid exposing ourselves, we can only use these aquatic beasts as offerings to the great evil god." The man known as Lord Bloodclaw lowered his head and glanced briefly, then spoke out, confirming it was Lord Bloodclaw. Hearing this conversation left Yi Tian completely shocked. He quickly pieced together a rough idea of who these people were. They were members of the evil god cult. And this Lord Bloodclaw is probably the one making waves recently in Donghai City. The peak master of dark arts from the cult of evil gods must be stopped. Yi Tian immediately came up with this idea, but his face quickly turned grim again. Taking action directly is absolutely out of the question, because with his current strength, there is no way he could stand against a peak master of dark arts. Maybe the other person could use an artistic move and instantly take him out. After thinking about it for a long time, he finally made up his mind to report this group of cult members to the East Sea City Ability Association. Right after that, Yi Tian summoned a water clone, disguising himself as a man in casual black clothing, wearing a baseball cap and looking like a middle-aged guy. He arrived at the Ability Association building. Then he explained his purpose to one of the gatekeepers who appeared to be an artist. Shortly after, a woman in her 20s appeared in front of Yi Tian. This woman was dressed in a form-fitting silver combat suit. Her delicate face was complemented by a pair of sharp eyes. She was staring intensely at Yi Tian, as if trying to find the slightest clue on him. Master Lu Xing. The nearby guards, who seemed to be artists, greeted her respectfully. Right after, Yi Tian's water clone appeared. After reporting to Master Lu Xing about some details regarding the Evil God Society, he turned into a puddle of water and vanished. Shortly after that, Master Lu Xing, along with Tai Shi, the vice president of the East Sea City Supernatural Association, left the headquarters building of the Supernatural Association together and headed quickly towards the southeast side of East Sea City. Meanwhile, Yi Tian, who had made the report, hid in the dense forest near the altar of the Evil God Society to watch the commotion. At this moment, near the dense forest by the Donglan River, beside an altar, the master of pinnacle art, Blood Swamp, along with several members of the cult of the evil god, were busy preparing here. Suddenly, Blood Swamp's expression changed. His gaze shifted to the distance. Right after that, a figure slowly emerged from the void not far away. Looking down at the altar below, the Ironstone Bloodswamp quickly recognized the visitor. It was none other than the vice president of the East Sea City Ability Association, a true master-level powerhouse. Who would have thought, Bloodswamp? You're really here after all. Ironstone flashed a bright smile. capturing so many members of the evil god society in one go. This is truly a great achievement. The moment Bloodswamp recognized Ironstone, he waved his claw. Take away the 6 black stones from the altar. Then perform the forbidden blood escape technique. Quickly flee toward the distance. He may be a master at the peak of his artistry, but in front of an art grandmaster, he is no more than an ant. The gap between the two is as vast as a chasm. Staying here and fighting desperately would only lead to certain death, so he was willing to sacrifice 3 years of his life to use the forbidden water-based blood escape technique to get away. There was a sudden swishing sound. Using the blood escape technique, the speed of the blood claw increased dramatically in an instant, leaving behind streaks of blood shadows on the ground. It vanished into the jungle. Oh, the blood escape technique. Too bad you haven't mastered it yet. If it were at its perfected level, you might have actually escaped today. What a pity for Ironstone. After shaking his head, he cast the golden light technique and chased after Bloodclaw to hunt him down. Shortly after that, in the jungle near the Donlan River, Taishi caught up with the fleeing Bloodclaw using the iron prison cage. A massive prison appeared out of thin air, descending upon Bloodclaw, intending to capture him alive. But Bloodclaw, realizing he was outmatched, his eyes turned bloodshot as he started to fight with all his might. He reached into his spatial ring and pulled out a crimson claw, which he fused into his hand. Once the two merged together, the aura of the Bloodclaw instantly surged to a higher level. Immediately after, using the hand fitted with the blood-red claw, he reached forward and tore apart the iron prison in one swift move, finally breaking free from his confinement. At that moment, Ironstone executed a precise technique called the art of slicing. A flash of golden light appeared, directly severing Bloodclaw's crimson claw, along with his arm altogether. Bloodclaw let out a scream of agony, but he gritted his teeth and ran toward the Donlan River not far away. Seeing this scene, Ironstone's expression changed. If the Bloodclaw really managed to escape into the Donlan River, he might actually end up empty-handed today. So he gave up on the idea of capturing it alive, and directly unleashed his strongest art, the Thousand Seal Strike, against the Bloodclaw. A muffled sound was heard. A streak of silvery white light pierced straight through Bloodclaw's heart. The Bloodclaw, just one step away from Donlan River, displayed a look of unwillingness. Then its body fell straight down, disappeared into the southeastern river. At this moment, Taishi slowly descended onto the surface of the river, then formed a giant golden hand, directly pulled up the corpse of Shueizhou. After searching through Shueizhou's body, Taishi frowned slightly. Surprisingly, he couldn't find that item. Then Taishi dove into the Donlan River, searched again for a while, still couldn't locate it. After staying in the same spot for a while, Taishi left, taking the body of Shueizhou with him. What he didn't realize was, on the river, a few hundred meters from where Shueizhou fell into the water, a transparent figure was slowly coming into view. It was none other than Yi Tian's water clone. And in his hand, he was firmly holding an object. That item truly proved that fortune favors the bold. Not only did he gain a permanent storage space, but also treasures within its inner dimension. There are 6 dark stones worth over 100 million. These are exactly the rare materials Yi Tian is currently lacking. They can help Yi Tian awaken his dark attribute talent. Right after that, Yi Tian plans to find a quiet place, began absorbing the dark stone. Shortly after that, Yi Tian sat cross-legged, sitting in the abandoned house where the group had originally found the blood marsh. Both hands held onto a piece of dark stone. Black streams of air could be seen seeping into his palms, slowly gathering toward his chest. Suddenly, Yi Tian let out a painful roar. Then, in an instant, he opened his tightly shut eyes. His once clear eyes turned jet black. They transformed into an inky, pitch-black color. His entire body started swelling up like a balloon, rapidly expanding at an alarming rate. It felt as if he was about to burst at any moment. At that moment, behind Yi Tian, an eerie shadow of a mysterious technique appeared. A flash of black light could be seen from him, and then quickly began to absorb the excess dark energy within the body. At this moment, Yi Tian's body gradually returned to its normal state. Shortly after, a faint ding sound could be heard. Suddenly, there was a flash of dark light. The dark element talent ability was upgraded to grade B. At this moment, Yi Tian slowly opened his eyes. The scene he just experienced left him shaken. If it weren't for practicing the enlightenment technique, a fortunate accident ended up saving his life. He might have met his end here today. Right after, Yi Tian searched the Blood Marsh's nether realm. He found 2 books on dark element arts. A top-tier grade B dark element art known as the Spear of Darkness. When used, the dark power forms into a black spear. The spear spins rapidly. The tip of the spear faintly glows with a white light. It possesses terrifying offensive power. A grade B dark type art. When the dark canopy unfolds, it traps enemies in a space filled with darkness. Not only does it suppress part of the enemy's strength, it also seals off this entire void. It is incredibly rare. The art that can restrict space-based abilities. Over the next few days, Yi Tian used blood to locate the wealth inside the space ring, while heading to the underground mall number 2 to purchase various materials related to the 5 elements. He also practiced these 2 arts using the Dao comprehension technique. Days passed one after another. When there were only half a month left until the college entrance exam, Yi Tian's cultivation finally reached its peak. In the realm of the artist. Right after that, Yi Tian set out for the Maple Leaf Mountain Range. The goal this time was very clear. It was all about going after the black-scaled giant serpent. With the fire eye technique, Yi Tian's eyes flashed with a red glow. In an instant, the surrounding scenery was imprinted in his mind. Then Yi Tian arrived at the area where the black-scaled giant serpent had appeared before. He started searching. Not long after, inside an underground cave near the side of a mountain, he found the black-scaled giant serpent. He was covered in wounds all over his body. Lying face down in the cave with his eyes closed, he was resting. It was clear he had just been through a fierce battle. Just as Yi Tian noticed the black-scaled giant serpent, its eyes suddenly snapped open in an instant. Then it started flicking its tongue at Yi Tian repeatedly. Obviously, the black-scaled giant serpent had also noticed him. With a swift sound, Yi Tian quickly moved closer to the black-scaled giant serpent, while continuously gathering dark energy in his hands. A black spear slowly emerged right after. It darted toward the black-scaled serpent with incredible speed. The black-scaled serpent swung its tail to strike at the spear. There were 2 distinct thuds. The dark spear ignored the serpent's defense entirely. It not only pierced through the swinging tail, but also continued without slowing down, and went straight through its body. Its heart shattered instantly. The body collapsed onto the ground with a heavy thud. After that, Yi Tian cleaned up the corpse of the black-scaled serpent efficiently, and quickly left the place. A few days later, Yi Tian returned to Donghai No. 1 High School. At this time, other students who had taken leave also came back one after another. Because there was only 1 day left until the college entrance exam. By now, the students in the water element genius class had almost all reached the artist realm. Except for Yi Tian. The one with the highest cultivation level in the class is Lin Qingya. Her cultivation has already reached the level of an advanced artist. With this level of cultivation, as long as nothing unexpected happens, getting into Donghai University, one of the top 10 universities for special abilities in Xia country, shouldn't be an issue. In the blink of an eye, the college entrance exams arrived. The teachers publicly announced that this year's exams would be conducted through practical assessments. The location would be the Illusion Secret Realm, F6, in Donghai City. Everyone would enter the realm using their consciousness. Then they engage in fierce battles. Eventually, the results are determined. Dying in the secret realm doesn't mean actual death. It only consumes a portion of mental energy. The F6 secret realm has been modified by the official team. It is divided into 3 major areas: the outer region, the inner region, and the core. The outer region is usually filled with wild beasts or quasi-demonic beasts. It is specifically designed for art apprentices. The inner region is the territory of first-level demonic beasts, while the core area is entirely occupied by second-level demonic beasts. The assessment lasts for 12 hours. Once the time is up, at that point, the assessment results will be finalized. The final rankings will be determined by the scores, and the university admission slots will be allocated accordingly. Afterwards, all the students followed their teachers to the F6 secret realm. When Yi Tian arrived at the location, he saw the entrance to the secret realm, which was already packed with a crowd of students. The schools taking part in the F6 secret realm college entrance exam are not limited to Donghai First High School. Schools like Donghai Third High, Sixth High, Ninth High, and more than 10 other schools are also participating. At this moment, the sound of a deep and resonant bell echoed. The gates of the F6 secret realm slowly began to open. Immediately, a large number of students rushed into the secret realm like a swarm of locusts. Yi Tian also followed the crowd and entered. After going inside, he noticed something on his left wrist. There was an illusionary bracelet appearing there. It seemed that this bracelet was designed to keep track of each candidate's score. One after another, students zipped past him in a flash and dashed off into the distance. Yi Tian, however, paused for a moment to ponder before picking a direction and quickly heading off on his own. His destination this time was the inner zone. Given his current level of cultivation, staying on the outskirts would be a complete waste of time. Before long, Yi Tian passed through a barrier and arrived at the inner region. Before he could steady himself, he saw a blood wolf beast charging at him. It rushed toward him at lightning speed. A flash of golden light appeared. Yi Tian unleashed his golden needle technique instantly. With a puffing sound, the blood wolf's head was pierced straight through by the golden needle technique. It died on the spot. After the blood wolf died, it turned into mist and entered the illusion bracelet. Right after that, a score number appeared on it. Next, he used the fire eye technique to help him search for nearby monsters, while taking them down one by one. And the numbers on the illusion watch on his wrist is also increasing rapidly. In just a short hour, his score reached an astonishing 1,000. You should know. Last year the admission score for Donghai University was only 850. So this means, with the current score, he can easily get into Donghai University. Glancing at the numbers on his watch, Yi Tian's face lit up with a bright smile. Then he started thinking about heading to the core area. Right after that, Yi Tian used the golden light technique to quickly move toward the core area. Not long after, Yi Tian passed through the second barrier and arrived at the core area. While Yi Tian was advancing in the core area, having moved a few hundred meters forward, a gray giant bear, a mid-level tier 2 beast, suddenly leapt out from behind the bushes. Right after that, a massive gray bear covered in rocky armor opened its massive jaws and charged towards Yi Tian at full speed. A green blow flashed in Yi Tian's hand. The woodvine hell technique was unleashed multiple times. Wooden vines shot up from the ground one after another, wrapping tightly around the gray bear that was rushing forward. And then, a row of sharp wooden spikes emerged from the ground not far away, swiftly thrust towards the grizzly bear. Puff puff puff. After a few sounds, the massive body of the grizzly bear collapsed at Yi Tian's feet. At that moment, the illusion watch on his wrist flashed briefly. Right after, the value on it instantly increased by 200 points. That's quite a lot. Yi Tian's expression froze for a moment. Then, as if he suddenly realized something, he broke into a happy smile. Afterwards, Yi Tian started taking down various second-tier beasts in the core area. 2,000 points, 3,000 points, 4,000 points. 6 hours later, Yi Tian's points skyrocketed to a shocking 8,000. At this point, Yi Tian unknowingly had reached the very center of the core zone. After a loud roar, a tier 2 peak-level beast, the Earth Armor Dragon, appeared right in front of him. The Earth Armor Dragon is a tier 2 peak-level beast with B-grade bloodline potential. Not only does it have incredibly strong defense all over its body, ordinary techniques can hardly break through its outer armor, but its strength is also terrifying. With just one slap, even a peak-level practitioner would be seriously injured. And that's not all. The Earth Armor Dragon also possesses several Earth Elemental arts. It is extremely difficult to deal with. As the Earth Armor Dragon slowly approached, even Yi Tian felt a slight sense of pressure. Then, with a sudden swish, the Earth Armor Dragon disappeared without a trace. It was the Earth Escape technique. Yi Tian immediately became tense. Using Fire Eye technique, Yi Tian's eyes flashed with a red glow. He quickly searched for the Earth Armor Dragon's location. Soon after, Yi Tian noticed something just 5 meters behind him. He discovered an Earth Armor Dragon lurking underground. Then he pointed a finger at it and cast the Steel Ground technique. In an instant, the area beneath the Earth Armor Dragon was transformed into solid steel. As the steel kept pressing together, it seemed like it was about to crush the Earth Armor Dragon. Right after that, a flash of yellow-brown light appeared on the Earth Armor Dragon's body. Then it directly broke through the Steel Ground technique, bursting out from beneath the ground. The Earth Armor Dragon that emerged was covered in layers of thick armor, transforming into an armored earth dragon. Upon seeing this, Yi Tian quickly formed a spear of darkness. A long black spear rapidly took shape, and thrust it forward. Immediately afterward, the clash of metal echoed loudly. Turning towards the direction of the sound, the armored earth dragon came into view. Only a small piece of its scale had fallen off, while the dark spear had already dissipated into the air. This minor injury was nothing to the earth dragon. At this moment, the earth dragon's attack was right in front of him. A low hum filled the air. Countless stone spears appeared densely around, and they were all aimed at Yi Tian. This is clearly a B-level talent, an artistic master of stone manipulation. It can create hundreds of stone spears. The attack not only moves at incredible speed, but it also covers a wide area. Even using the golden light technique cannot evade it. Then Yi Tian gritted his teeth, and directly unleashed the A-level dark art. The dark canopy hummed as it activated. In an instant, the area within dozens of meters turned pitch black. And in that very moment, the earth dragon lost track of Yi Tian as well. Right after that, countless black threads slowly appeared across the dark sky, wrapping themselves around the earth dragon, constantly suppressing its strength. At this moment, the earth dragon began to panic, twisting its massive body repeatedly, trying to break free from the restraints. Watching the struggling earth dragon, Yi Tian immediately used the Hellwood spike technique again. Sharp wooden spikes rose up from the ground. They aimed directly at the underbelly of the earth-armored dragon, which happens to be one of the dragon's weaknesses. The wooden spikes lifted the earth-armored dragon's body upward, but they still couldn't completely penetrate its defenses. Then Yi Tian pulled off a surprising move, thoroughly enraging the earth-armored dragon. He controlled one of the wooden spikes, and drove it straight into the earth-armored dragon from behind. A miserable scream echoed right after. The Ankylosaurus's eyes glowed blood-red. It suddenly turned ferocious. It thrashed its limbs wildly, wreaking havoc on the ground around it. But under the dark sky, the Ankylosaurus still managed to break free from the suppression. Yet the target still remains out of reach. Following this, Yi Tian used various forms of art to drain his life force. Seeing that the earth armor dragon was no match, it prepared to use the earth escape technique to flee. As expected, Yi Tian was prepared in advance. He quickly used the ground to steel technique, trapping the earth armor dragon in place. Then Yi Tian launched a series of attacks on the earth armor dragon. Before long, the earth armor dragon gradually lost its vitality, turning into mist, and was absorbed into Yi Tian's illusionary watch. At that moment, Yi Tian's score instantly increased by 2,000, reaching the full score of 10,000 points. There's no point in continuing to hunt down the beasts anymore, Yi Tian murmured to himself. After a moment passed, Yi Tian left the central area. He went off to search for other resources. Although the F6 secret realm is an illusionary realm, it is essentially also a real secret realm. There are certain things here that can actually be taken out of here. Not long after, Yi Tian came across a white stone, and it was an exceptionally pure white. This was an illusion stone. Yi Tian's face lit up with excitement. It is a type of material for mental abilities. Moreover, it is a material that most mental ability users urgently need. People with mental ability talents are extremely rare, but they are incredibly powerful. And because mental ability materials are very scarce, this makes it particularly challenging to cultivate. However, when a psychic power user reaches an advanced level of practice, they are undoubtedly among the strongest types of ability users. Unfortunately, it's just a low-grade illusion stone. If I could find an ultimate illusion stone or a high-grade one, maybe I could awaken my psychic talent and abilities. At this moment, Yi Tian sighed inwardly, but then he brightened up after a second thought. Since this place already has a piece of magical stone, this suggests there might be more magical stones appearing. In the next few hours, Yi Tian kept searching throughout this area. Right before the competition ended, Yi Tian successfully awakened an F-level psychic talent ability. He then quickly headed to the secret realm's exit. Not long after, Yi Tian handed over his illusion bracelet to the teacher. After leaving this place, 2 days later, at the school square of Donghai No. 1 High School, the area was packed with students and teachers. It was the day to officially announce the college entrance exam results. On the high platform stood the principal of No. 1 High School, the renowned art master Guahai. Guahai waved his hand, signaling for the crowd below to stay quiet. Then he slowly began to speak, addressing all the teachers. This year, our school achieved some remarkable results. Hearing this news, all the teachers present couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. Then, Guahai continued speaking. This year, the top scorer in Donghai City's college entrance exam is from our school. Moreover, the top scorer in the entire province is also from our school. The audience was instantly abuzz with chatter. Many teachers and students started whispering among themselves. On the quiet stage, Guahai spoke in a loud voice. He then paused for a moment to catch his breath. Calmly said, "This person is someone you would never expect. He is Yi Tian from the Water Element Genius class." Yi Tian. Hearing this name, Teacher Li Xian was completely stunned. You have to understand, this Yi Tian used to have an F-grade talent. Later, after obtaining rare treasures, they managed to boost their potential to level C, barely making it into the gifted class. Keep in mind that those who rely on rare treasures to enhance their potential usually have a limited ceiling. Now Yi Tian has taken a month off. He surprisingly achieved the top score in the entire province during the college entrance exam. For him, that was simply unimaginable. Right after that, Li Xian asked the principal again, "Are you joking about this? Do you think I would joke about something like this at a formal meeting?" And based on the university admission scores from previous years, it is estimated that this year, our school will have students who meet the admission score for Donghai University. There were roughly 23 people, Principal Guahai said sternly. Shortly after, the principal, after announcing the results, left the scene. Not long after, the news that a top scorer in the college entrance exam had emerged from school number 1 spread like wildfire, swept through every street and alley in just one day. Meanwhile, Lin Xingya, who was cultivating somewhere in Donghai City, also received this news. How did Yi Tian become the top scorer in the college entrance exam? Lin Xingya found it hard to believe, since he was one of the few who knew about Yi Tian's background, a student with F-level potential. In just 2 months, he somehow jumped to become first in the entire province. It seems that the secrets Yi Tian holds are far from ordinary, Lin Xingya thought to himself with amazement. Meanwhile, Yi Tian was surrounded by a group of people on the school playground. "Yi Tian, would you consider applying to our Shanghai University? At our Moda University, we're not only willing to waive all tuition fees, but also offer you a 1 million yuan enrollment bonus." A man in his early 30s, dressed in a gray suit, said, "Yi Tian, if you choose to attend our Jingbei University, we will not only waive your tuition fees, but also provide an additional 3 million yuan scholarship. Additionally, we'll cover all your cultivation resources during your time at the university." A man in his 30s wearing gold-rimmed glasses, the female teacher in the red professional outfit, spoke. Right after, one recruiter after another from various universities offered enticing opportunities, hoping Yi Tian would choose their school. "Sorry about that. I've already decided to apply to Donghai University." Yi Tian turned them down directly. The only reason he chose Donghai University was because it is close to home. After that, Yi Tian was taken to the principal's office by Teacher Li Xian. When Yi Tian met Guahai, the Grandmaster of Arts, he couldn't help but feel a little reserved. Then he respectfully greeted, "Principal, hello." Guahai glanced at Yi Tian. He gave a slight nod. Not bad, his cultivation level has already reached its peak as an artist, and he is about to break through to the artist master level. Afterward, Guahai asked a few questions. A reward for Yi Tian, the top scorer in the college entrance exam, was given. A mysterious water god stone was presented. Then came a heartfelt reminder. He went to Donghai University to refine his skills in the arts. This is just the beginning. Some extraordinary talents at Donghai University achieved mastery in the arts before even graduating. I hope you can accomplish the same. Principal, I will do my best. After Yi Tiangshuanji took his leave, he used a water clone to reach the East Sea Pavilion to purchase a spiritual art. However, Xuanji Yi Tian left disappointed, because at the East Sea Pavilion, he could only find defensive-type spiritual arts, while illusion and offensive arts were strictly regulated by the authorities and were not available for sale. At that moment, Yi Tian was at home absorbing the water power from the water god stone. Knock knock knock, someone was knocking on Yi Tian's door. Yi Tian used his fire eye technique and noticed a woman in her 20s standing outside the door. She was the peak art master from the Ability Users Association. Lu Xing Yitian then invited Lu Xing into his home. After Lu Xing revealed her identity, she immediately explained her purpose. Yitian, I'm here on behalf of the Ability Users Association to invite you to join us. Right after that, he continued explaining the advantages of joining the Ability Association to Yitian. However, Yitian, who had lived a second life, was highly experienced, and a small favor or benefit wasn't enough to sway him. As the saying goes, there's no reward without effort. Before long, Yitian voiced his own request, which was to gain access to a B-level mental type skill. After that, Yitian also revealed a bit of his trump card to him, which was, I am a level B psychic ability user. Hearing this, Lu Xian was genuinely surprised. It turns out that Yitian, who claimed the top spot in the provincial exam, had actually kept his true abilities hidden so well. After a round of negotiations, both sides reached an agreement. Yitian agreed to join the Association of Psychic Ability Users, and the association rewarded Yitian with a C-level psychic attack art book, Soul True Art. Shortly after, at the mission area in the headquarters of the Ability Association, Yitian, who had just received an art assignment, was staring at the bulletin board full of various missions. Mission 1 involves igniting a fire. It requires water element artists. No limit on the number of participants. Successfully completing the mission earns 20 points. Mission 2 in Donglan involves searching for missing persons. There are no specific requirements. Water element abilities are given priority. Completing the task will earn 15 points. Task 3 involves clearing out demon rats in the east of the city. Killing a level 1 demon rat earns 10 points. Killing a level 2 demon rat earns 50 points. There is no limit to the quantity. After giving it some thought, Yitian made his decision. He chose to take on the demon rat clearing task. The reason he decided to accept this task. One of the reasons is, the Ability Association allows you to use points to buy a variety of items. You can even purchase B-level offensive psychic techniques. These are also available for purchase. On the other hand, while this mission is somewhat risky, it offers a significant amount of points in return. Not long after that, Yitian arrived at the eastern part of Donghai City. Based on the information from the Ability Association, the demon rats live underground in this area. Even though they're not very large in size, but its claws are as strong as steel, and it is skilled at digging holes. So even if the demon rat can be defeated, it's hard to kill it, unless the demon rat is taken down with a single fatal strike when spotted. Yitian didn't care about this at all, because he possesses multiple abilities. On one hand, he can use the Fire Eye skill to locate the demon rat. On the other hand, he can also use the Earth Escape skill to burrow underground, to chase after or take down the demon rats. But compared to Yitian's current level, the demon rat's strength doesn't pose any threat. After putting in half a day of effort, Yitian returned with a pile of demon rat corpses, and headed back to the headquarters of the Ability Association. When he turned in the mission results, the staff members were absolutely stunned. He had only been gone for half a day, and yet he managed to eliminate so many demon rats. 6 level 2 demon rats, 36 level 1 demon rats. A total of 660 points were earned. In the following days, Yitian took on various tasks, while also practicing the spiritual attack technique Soul True Art. Not long after, Yitian prepared to break through to the artist realm. Breaking through to the artist realm means compressing and condensing the supernatural energy into a supernatural organ. As a multi-ability user, Yitian needed to compress and condense different powers. Afterward, Yitian, fully prepared, began his breakthrough. His expression shifted between surprise and pain, changing continuously. After a night of cultivation, when the first rays of sunlight streamed into the room, with a buzzing sound, Yitian's whole body radiated a dazzling array of colors. Right after that, Yitian's aura kept rising steadily. Then his tightly shut eyes suddenly opened wide. An invisible ripple shot out from his pupils. At this moment, Yitian exuded a heavy and oppressive presence. After breaking through 7 times, Yitian officially stepped into the realm of a 7-system art grandmaster. The moment Yitian regained clarity, he threw a punch forward. A loud boom echoed in the air. The atmosphere seemed to be torn apart. A sudden burst of strange noises rang out. Is this the power of a true master of the arts? Now with this punch, it should be enough to take down a peak-level artist. Yi Tian nodded in satisfaction. After just completing his advancement, Yi Tian headed once again to the headquarters of the Ability Association. This time, he took on a mission to extinguish a forest fire outside the city. Normally, tasks like this are handled by the fire department. But this fire started under unusual circumstances and spread quickly. So the fire department assigned the task through the official channel. And it was passed on to the Association of Artists. The ones taking on this mission, besides Yi Tian, included 6 other individuals with water-based abilities. In fact, he even noticed a master in water-based artistry among them. When they arrived at the scene of the fire, they finally understood why the Association of Ability Users was asked to step in this time. The sight before them was a mountain covered entirely in flames. The fiery red glow lit up half the sky, and the red and black flames were clearly not your typical wildfire. With a loud boom, several artists moved in unison to display their skills. A massive amount of water was summoned from afar to extinguish the blazing flames. Meanwhile, Yi Tian and another water element master were assigned to handle the other sides of the wildfire. As Yi Tian was wielding his water-based techniques to put out the fire, whoosh whoosh whoosh, the sound of several sharp gusts of wind came from behind Yi Tian. Right after that, 6 attacks of different elemental abilities rushed toward him in the blink of an eye. With a loud boom, the spot where Yi Tian had been standing, a massive pit about 10 meters wide appeared, and Yi Tian's figure had completely vanished.